Cutter Gauthier. When you think of him, what do you think of? Well, I think of the RIZZLER. That and more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everydayer. Thanks for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. I am Kyle Kjer. I've spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey. But here on Locked On Ducks, every day we are talking about the Anaheim Ducks. That is what we talk about here. Give me 1 second. Oh my goodness. Look at that. There's my pretty face. If you're listening, I did not have my light on. If you're on YouTube, my apologies. I know you were waiting for the beauty. Anyways, goodness, choking on my aspirations over here. Like I said, I'm Kyle Kjer, and today we're talking about the Locked On Anaheim Ducks, because that's what we do every day here, talking about the Anaheim Ducks. And right now, the Ducks are headed to Boston. Well, technically, they're already there. They got the train at the BU Arena. That's the Boston University Arena. Very beautiful ice area and just historical spot to play some hockey on. But anyways, I digress. They are there in Boston, and they're going to be having a nice little game against the Bruins. We'll get into the expectations there a little bit later. And right now, if you look at the standings, the Ducks, they're right there. They're sniffing the playoffs. They are reaching. They're right. It's in their grasp. They are so close. They're just outside of the wild card right now. Granted, they have quite a few games in hand, and with how things went in Nashville, I expect to see a lot of good things coming out of the Ducks. I don't think they're out of it whatsoever. They are just getting started. And one of the players who is, he's not just getting started, but he is right there as one of the catalysts of this team and the person that I want to talk about first. And that is Cutter Gauthier, the master of Riz. Like I said here, if you look on the right side, Cutter Gauthier is Riz, the RIZZLER, if you will, of the Anaheim Ducks. This man is on fire. He's got the looks. He's got the smirks. He's got the charm, but he's also got the compete, and he is scoring some nasty goals. I was there for training camp and everything, and I made a little reel. I recommend you go check it out on the Locked On Ducks social media, Locked On Anaheim Ducks, that is social media. Made a nice little reel, kind of some slow motion, little Taylor Swift, but he does this little look and smile and stuff. And I know all the Ducks girlies out there, they're loving the Cutter Gauthier. So, but that was extremely loud. I'm sorry if I just blew out your eardrums. Looking at how things have been going for Cutter Gauthier right now this year compared to last year, things are looking up. Last year, Cutter Gauthier, my goodness, was this the man who was snake bit? Kind of like Mikael Granlund is right now. That was the Cutter Gauthier of last season. Last year, it took Cutter 6 games just to get a point. 6 games. The Ducks are now at their 6-game mark. 6 games to get a point. 16 games to get a goal. So now imagine what we've seen already out of the Ducks. And Cutter Gauthier just got an assist this game. Now 10 more games go by, and then finally Cutter Gauthier gets a goal. That was what last year was. He had the most shots on net. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he set like multiple records of shots per game, shots on net, shots to start a season without a goal. Like he was doing everything he could, and it's already started this season with how many shots he's had. Like this guy shoots the puck. But already this year, comparatively to last year, he is doing so much better. Last year, like I said, it took Cutter 6 games to get a point, 16 games to get a goal, and it also took Cutter Gauthier like uh, s- it took everything for him to get that first goal. He was trying anything and everything that he could to get a goal last year. The final product of last season was 82 games out of Cutter Gauthier. He had 20 goals, 20 assists, and 44 points. So 82 games minus 16, right? That is, I'm not that great at math right now, but 82, 16, we're looking at what, 66 games? So in 66 games, he had 20 goals, 20 assists, 44 points. So just under a point a game. Well, right now, Cutter Gauthier, and if I did not do my math right, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's 66 games where he actually was scoring points. But now we're looking at this year. Cutter Gauthier, he has played in all 6 games so far. We know he's capable of playing all 82 games. He did it in his rookie season, which is insane. But 6 games so far, he has 4 goals and 1 assist. He is a Lady Bing candidate right now. That is 5 points, ladies and gentlemen, for Cutter Gauthier. 4 goals, 1 assist in 6 games so far. It took him 6 games to get 1 point last year. So he is already off to a tear, getting some beautiful goals. And his shot, like the confidence in his shot that he has this year is absurd. He has had some beautiful 2-on-1 opportunities, 2-on-0s. Like anytime he's been on an odd man rush, he's either gotten a nasty goal or he got the assist or it turns into some offensive possession time. But most of the times when he's got that odd man rush, that puck is finding the back of the net. He has absolutely mastered his shot and he's so quick. He is such a great skater. Last year, Cutter Gauthier took 190 shots. So not only does he have a good shots, that's a lot of shots to practice already. 190 shots last year in 82 games. This year, Cutter Gauthier already has taken 28 shots. 28 shots. So just to do the math for you on that, last year, 190 shots, 82 games. That is 2.3 shots per game average last year. 2.3 shots per game average. 190 shots, 82 games. Well, this year, 6 games played, correct? He has already taken 28 shots. That is on pace for 4.6 shots on goal per game average right now. That is over double what he had last year. So if he keeps up what he's doing right now, you are going to see one, a lot of goals out of Cutter, and two, just a lot of offense being generated for him. The shots that don't go in, most likely they're resulting in a rebound or I mean, an offensive faceoff at the least. So Cutter Gauthier is going to be stirring a lot of offense for this team. He is looking so good. His shot percent at this rate is nearly 5% higher than it was last year. So 5% more than last year in his shot percentage. Right now, he's at point or so last year, he was at 0.8 hits per game last year. Right now, he's on pace for 1.3 hits per game so far. So not only is he shooting the puck more, he's playing way more physically. He's skating so much faster. His average time on ice last year was 14 minutes and 9 seconds. This year so far is 18 minutes and 29 seconds. He's playing extremely well with McTavish and Seneca. And then there was that little mix up with Kreider being out. He goes up with Carlson, has immediate success. It's looking so good for the Anaheim Ducks with Cutter Gauthier in this lineup. It doesn't matter if he's playing in the top line, the second line. You're going to see offensive production from this guy. The fact that we got him with everything that went wrong in Philadelphia, and, Trevor Zegras, he's out there, you know, God bless him. God bless Jamie Drysdale. Everything to them, power to him. I hope they have success. But the fact that everything went wrong the way it did in Philadelphia for the Ducks to get Cutter Gauthier is an absolute blessing. We are hanging out with the Anaheim Angels because we have got God's power behind us, bringing Cutter Gauthier to Anaheim the way that it all went down. We are looking good, but right now we got to look forward to what's coming and how things are looking out for this team. And at this pace, the Ducks are right there for that playoff race. So we'll get into that coming up next. Let's be honest. Most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they are worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, an all in one personal financial tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or your phone. I love that I can review everything with my family or partner. If you're married, if you're dating, whoever you want to share your financials with, it's right there. You can see your shared goals, make better financial decisions together. All of that is right there on Monarch. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code locked on NHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code locked on NHL for half off your first year. So let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. Or it happens to everyone sometimes, right? But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rujit comes in. Rigid.com offers fast acting, doctor prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves, brother. Let's go. Ruja makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board certified doctor 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in person appointments. And if you're prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. So visit rugiet.com/ locked on NHL to get 15% off your first order. You can look there down below as I just switched the banner, but that is rugiet.com/ locked on NHL. And don't forget to use your code locked on NHL so they know that we sent you. Rugit, RUGIET. Stop making excuses and start making moves. So we just went over Cutter Gauthier and how things have been going for him. He is absolutely taking off. Right now, he is the RIZZLER of this team, just making things happen, sniffing the wind. got the smirk, he's got the looks, he's chilling right now. But then we look at the Ducks. Where is this team at? Where are things going? There's been so much talk. Are they going to be at the bottom of the barrel? Are they going to be chasing the wild card? Are they going to be in the playoffs? Where are they? What's going to be this team? Well, right now, we're not in yet to the 10-game mark for everybody. Some teams have played 10, some have not. Like things are going. We're getting to that mix of the thing. The Ducks are close to that 10-game mark, but gonna wait a little bit. Probably, everyone, if you've been in the game for a while or if you're just starting, usually the like barometer for where teams are at is American Thanksgiving. We're not quite to Halloween yet, and we just had the Canadian Thanksgiving. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everyone up north of the border and all of those who celebrate. But we're almost to Halloween and America. Well, I don't want to say America, United States of America, because, North America, South America, whatever. Uh, but once we get to Thanksgiving in the US, we'll probably take a really deep dive in looking at the standings and how things are looking and where the Ducks are and if it's a concern or what. Like that's going to be kind of the parameter of where things are at. And that's when I'll really take a nice hard look at the league, the division, the conference, and what's going on with players, points wise, all that stuff. But right now, as we're getting into things, kind of the swing. We've seen Ducks years start with a bunch of wins and then they just disappear. We've seen years where they have a hard start and then they kind of win, then they disappear. But right now, we're kind of seeing a good middle ground. And for me, I'm a little bit more positive about having a little bit of ups and a little bit of downs in regards to how things are going with the season, because I think we got this new coach and we are uh I say we like I'm part of this team. I feel like it sometimes, especially with Orange Country, like we're all part of this team if we really think about it. But the Anaheim Ducks, the way that they're approaching this year and the way things are going for the Ducks, they're really right there in the thick of it. And they're implementing this new system with a new coach, and they're still scoring. They're getting depth scoring. They're engaging everyone. Everyone's kind of getting involved at this point. Last game, I kind of mentioned it last episode. You heard at the beginning of the broadcast that John Allers and Brian Hayward were hearing from Quenneville that he was really hoping that, the third and fourth line could get engaged, that the bottom six scoring wasn't coming together and things like that. There's a mix up in the defense, and all of a sudden everyone's popping off. We're getting 3 points from Ross Johnston. Ryan Pelling gets his first point. Troy Terry gets his first goal. Things are all coming together all of a sudden for the Anaheim Ducks. And you look at where the league where the league is at, and the Ducks are right there in the fight. And already they're doing a lot better than I thought they would be at. And I didn't think the Ducks would be in this position this quickly and kind of be in the middle of this race, but that's where they're at. So let's look. Like currently, the Ducks are just out of the wild card spot for the Western Conference with 6 games played, 3 wins, 2 losses, and 1 overtime loss at 7 points. The St. Louis Blues are technically the ones in the second wild card right now for the West, and they have the exact same record. The only thing that gets them above is that goal differential. Now, the Blackhawks, who I just had a whole episode about how the Ducks and the Blackhawks are going to be this competitive rival for the time being. The Blackhawks are at 3-2-2 with 8 points in 7 games played. So, and they're right there in the first wild card spot. Currently in the Pacific, there's Vegas Golden Knights, and they're in the lead with 12 points, 7 games played, 5 wins, 0 losses, 2 overtime losses at a .857 point percentage. And then in second, we've got the Vancouver Canucks, 7 games played, 4 wins, 3 losses, 0 overtime losses with 8 points and a .571 point percentage. And then in third in the West, Seattle, in the Pacific, sorry. Seattle, 7 games played, 3 wins, 2 losses, 2 overtime losses at 8 points with a .571 per points percentage. And then the Ducks right there in fourth place, like I said they would be. They're right there in fourth place, just below St. Louis and the Chicago Blackhawks. So right now, the Central has 5 of the playoff positions. The Pacific only has 3. In the Central, Avalanche lead with 12 points, 7 games played, 5-0-2. The Jets are at 6 games played, 5-1-0 with 10 points. And then the Utah Mammoth are at 7 games played, 5-2-0 with 10 points. And if I'm not mistaken, those 5 wins, or at least, yeah, I think those 5 wins are all since they unleashed the Tusky, the new mascot. So good to have a new mascot out there, someone to counterbalance the buoy from Seattle, because that's a whole other thing. And then, I mean, Gritty is just iconic. No one can beat Gritty. I'm sorry. I love you, Wild Wing, but Gritty just personifies Philadelphia. Like, he just represents, because he's literally nothing but chaos. And that's just Philadelphia. Wild Wing is legitimately the best mascot, but Gritty is the best representation of the city that he represents, if that makes sense. Total random sidebar. But if you want, we have got to get into what is coming up next now. And that is the Boston Bruins. Are they going to be a challenge? Are the Ducks going to destroy them? That's coming up next. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. I'm just that much more engaged when there's some football on. So what are you waiting for? Visit fanduel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. So we're just going over where the Anaheim Ducks lie, and they're just outside of that playoff spot in the West. They are in fourth place in the Pacific. The Pacific is pretty much the worst division in the league, but that doesn't matter if the Ducks are having success in it, right? But right now, the Ducks are looking forward to playing the Boston Bruins. I mentioned earlier in the show that they are at the Boston University arena for their practices today, and then they will be taking on the Bruins at the TD Garden at 4 p.m. Pacific, so 7 o'clock out there in Boston. I do love the TD Garden. If you've been to Honda Center, you kind of know how it's like. It's not too steep. Like, things are pretty just normal vertical. Like, you don't feel like you're falling. When you are at the Boston TD Garden, it feels like if you sneeze the wrong way, you are falling onto the ice. Like, you are right over it. What a great barn. But not only is it a great barn to go to as a fan, it's a great barn for the Anaheim Ducks. They have so much success when they take on the Boston Bruins. I feel like every single time Anaheim goes to Boston, they destroy the Bruins. Whether they are a great team and they end up having a great playoff run, or they are a terrible team and they don't see the playoffs, the Ducks somehow beat the Bruins in Boston. I am very surprised, to be honest, that this is not a 12 o'clock or, well, in our situation, like a 9 o'clock a.m. game on a Sunday, because I feel like every time Anaheim goes to Boston, it's a matinee game. So the fact that it's just a regular night game is already kind of throwing me off. But uh, the Ducks are in a much better position than the Bruins right now. The Bruins have played 8 games. They have 3 wins, 5 losses, and 0 overtime losses for 6 points. David Pastrnak leads the team in goals with 4, followed by Elias Lindholm and Morgan Geekie with 3. Pasta also leads the team in points with 10, followed by Pavel Zacha with 8 and Elias Lindholm with 6. Absolutely absurd that Pasta already has 10 points. He is carrying this Boston Bruins team on his back. He is a man on a mission. They just had the reunion. Beautiful, beautiful rendition for Brad Marchand, his first game back since getting traded to the Florida Panthers. He comes into the TD Garden and he's crying. The crowd's cheering, crying. I was crying just as soon as I saw the video. Like, I started tearing up. Mind you, I lived in Boston for a little bit. Well, just outside of Boston, just under 2 years. I lived in Acton, Massachusetts, and I got to be the 8 spoke salute to service member for the Bruins during the 2019 playoffs, which is the year they did go to the finals and lost to the St. Louis Blues in 7 games. And I have on my wall behind you, which I'm not going to go deal with, but I have the Bruins bear thing that you get. I have that my son wanted. I have some stuff from that, but if you go look at my social media, you'll see pictures from it. But they absolutely take care of you when you are honored there and stuff. And so, like, I can't imagine how amazing that moment was for Brad Marchand. I was just there for under 2 years. I was just a veteran offered to come and join one game, and they took care of me and my family and my fiance at the time and my son, and I got to bring my best buddy from the Marine Corps. Like, they totally took care of us. They read my bio. The whole place was cheering USA. Like, that was powerfully emotional. Imagine being Brad Marchand, who spent years upon years, almost 2 decades playing for this team, winning Stanley Cups, dragging them through the playoffs, creating goal after goal. Him and Brad, he is Brad. Him and Patrice Bergeron and David Pastrnak and Zdeno Chara and all of these iconic players in the NHL, for him to go back and to have that moment, like, that is so powerful. And I know this isn't Ducks talk, but like, just from a hockey perspective, just from the humanity perspective, like, that is such a big moment for hockey. And like, as someone who's been in that city and just understands kind of how passionate that place is, like, I, I can only imagine what he was feeling. And the fact that he barely, like, the tears that he did show and like the way that he was in that, like, that was nothing compared to what I would have been with how they are. Like, they are that's so powerful. That's I know I'm kind of just getting stuck on this, but it was amazing to me. I think that's so cool. But back to the Bruins. So now they had that moment, and now the Ducks, they're coming into town ready to rip them apart. Uh the Bruins have had a pretty tough schedule to start this season. Like, as much as you look at their points and kind of where they're at, like, Last game they played was the Florida game with Brad Marchand coming back. They lost 4-3. Then they played Utah, which before that they lost to Utah 3-2. They lost to the Avalanche 4-1. They lost to Vegas 6-5, and they lost Tampa Bay 4-3. So they are on a 5-game losing streak. And that is pretty much all. That's 5 losses. That's all been in a row. So that's where the Bruins are at. Jeremy Swayman has 5 games played, is 2-3-0 with a .903 save percentage and a .302 goals against average. Jonas Carpasalo's at 3 games played, is 1-2-0 with .865 save percentage, a 3.36 goals against average. And the Ducks just need to keep playing the way they're playing. They just need to keep getting the shots. The way they've been getting shots on net with how leaky these goaltenders are, they're going to dominate this game. The Bruins are currently 22nd in the league. They have the 24th best power play. They're 28th in goals against, meaning they have pretty much almost the most goals against, 20th in shots per game. Already, Zadorov has 38 hits, so he's someone they need to be really wary of. Pasta's in second with 18. Again, just putting the team on his back. He leads the team in takeaways and giveaways. So if the Ducks can shut down Pastrnak and just that is their mission, is to just keep him occupied and make sure he cannot produce, they've got this game. They just got to hound the Bruins with shots, be physical, keep Pasta quiet, and the Ducks are in the clear. So thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Go like and subscribe to the Locked On Anaheim Ducks YouTube, please. And wherever you listen to podcasts, leave a comment wherever on social. Join us, talk to us. We love you. And as always, I'm Kyle Carr. Be good out there.